So, why do we dream? I mean, it's a question every single one of us has probably asked at some point, right? It's this universal human mystery that just happens in our heads every night. For about a third of our lives, we slip into this world that's just built out of pure imagination, memory, and emotion. But what's the point of it all? Okay, let's dive in and see if we can find some answers. You know, this whole fascination with dreams, it's not a new thing. Not at all. In fact, you could say it's a quest that goes all the way back to the dawn of recorded history. This isn't just some modern scientific puzzle, this is an ancient human obsession. I mean, just think about it. We're talking way back in the 3rd millennium BCE, Mesopotamian kings were writing down their dreams on wax tablets, convinced they were messages from the gods. Fast forward 1,000 years or so, and the ancient Egyptians had an entire dream book with over 100 different interpretations. And now here we are today, with all our fancy technology, and we're still wrestling with that same basic question. So that really is the big question, isn't it? After all this time, after thousands of years of wondering and a solid century of intense scientific research, have we finally cracked the code? Do we know why we dream? Well, the short answer is nope. We still don't have one single official fits-all answer. But what we do have is this amazing collection of fascinating, sometimes competing theories. And each one gives us a pretty unique peek behind the curtain of why our brains put on this wild show every night. So let's check them out. Okay, so this first batch of theories basically looks at the dream world as a kind of mental playground. A space where our mind can just cut loose, express itself, and even solve some tricky problems, all without the rules of reality getting in the way. And you really can't talk about dreams without starting with the big guy, right? Sigmund Freud. Back in the early 1900s, Freud came along with this radical idea that all of our dreams, yep, even the nightmares, are basically a direct phone line to our subconscious, a place where our deepest, most hidden wishes get to take center stage. So the way Freud saw it, the stuff we see in our dreams, people, places, objects, are usually pulled from our everyday lives. But, and this is the key part, they're acting as symbols. It's like a secret code for our most primitive thoughts and urges. And he believed if we could just crack that code, we could uncover and maybe even fix some really deep-seated psychological problems. All right, here's another really cool idea. Maybe we dream to solve problems. Think about it. When we're asleep, our mind isn't tied down by logic or what's supposed to be possible. And that total freedom can lead to these incredible aha moments and creative solutions we'd probably never stumble upon when we're awake. I love how the author John Steinbeck put it. He called it the committee of sleep. And this isn't just a nice poetic idea. The chemist Auguste Kekule famously figured out the ring structure of the benzene molecule after he dreamed of a snake eating its own tail. So maybe the best advice really is to just sleep on it. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Our next set of theories looks at the brain less like an artist's studio and more like a biological supercomputer. All day long, it's just getting flooded with information. So at night, it's time for the maintenance crew to come in, do some cleanup, and get everything organized. And this night shift has two main jobs that, at first glance, sound like they totally contradict each other. On one hand, we dream to remember. Dreams are a sign that the brain is hard at work, locking in important memories. But on the other hand, we also dream to forget, basically trimming away the useless connections to keep our minds from getting cluttered and slow. And get this, there's some seriously powerful evidence for the dream to remember idea. Just look at this chart from a study back in 2010. They had people try to solve a 3D maze. Now, the group that took a nap and specifically dreamed about the maze, that's the huge bar on the right, they performed up to 10 times better than everyone else. 10 times! That shows dreaming isn't just a passive movie. It's an active process of learning. Now, to get your head around the dream to forget theory, you have to appreciate just how ridiculously complex our brains are. We're talking about roughly 10,000 trillion neural connections inside your head. That's a staggering number. A theory called reverse learning suggests that while we're in REM sleep, our brain zips through these connections and just deletes the ones we don't need. And our dreams? They might just be the byproduct of that massive cleanup operation. Or, maybe it's all much simpler than that. The continual activation theory basically proposes that dreams are just the brain's screensaver. See, when we fall asleep, the flow of information from the outside world pretty much stops. But the brain needs to stay active. So what does it do? It starts pulling data from its own memory banks. And we experience that random data dump as a dream. It's just the brain's way of staying online. All right, this brings us to our final group of theories, and these are rooted deep in evolution and psychology. These ideas suggest that dreams serve a really crucial purpose to get us ready for the challenges of real life and to help us heal from its wounds. Ever wonder why those stressful, anxiety-filled dreams are so common? The one where you're being chased or falling? Well, the primitive instinct rehearsal theory says there's a really good reason for that. Dreams act like a safe virtual reality simulator where we can practice our fight or flight response, keeping those critical survival skills sharp. So when you dream that a bear is chasing you, you're not just having a random nightmare. Your brain is running a simulation, a full-on dress rehearsal for a real threat. It helps make sure your instincts are ready to go when you really need them. And some researchers suggest this could apply to other instincts too, like reproductive ones. And finally, we come to what might be the most beautiful idea of all, that we dream to heal. During REM sleep, that's the stage where our most vivid dreams happen, the brain actually has much lower levels of certain stress chemicals. And this creates a really unique mental state that's perfect for processing difficult emotions. So the crucial thing here is that dreaming might let us replay painful experiences without that intense, stressful chemical reaction. It kind of takes the emotional edge off. This gives us a chance to process what happened from a clearer perspective. It's also why some scientists think that not dreaming enough might play a role in conditions like PTSD and other mood disorders. Okay, so we've looked at dreams as a secret wish, a problem solver, a memory manager, a survival simulator, and even a kind of therapist. After looking at all the evidence, all these different angles, where do we actually land? What's the verdict? Well, the truth is, there isn't one simple verdict. It's looking more and more like dreams aren't for just one thing. They might be more like a multi-tool for the mind, serving a bunch of different functions at different times. From expressing our hidden desires to healing our emotional pain, each one of these theories probably holds a piece of this incredible puzzle. As our technology gets better and we learn more about the brain, we might one day find a single, definitive reason for why we dream. But that leaves us with one last thing to think about. If we do solve the mystery completely, will we lose some of the magic, the wonder, and the deeply personal meaning we all find in our dreams? Something to sleep on,